Call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge of the allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I noticed nobody knelt during the...
Oh, or stayed seated.
So the purpose of today's special meeting, is for go over our 2018 preliminary budget. Larry sent out a draft for us to go over. I have not spent a whole lot of time on it, but I think Larry just wants to go through line by line. We can.
I have some notes to talk to you about. In calculating the numbers, what we did was we took our year-to-date totals in QuickBooks, divided them by the 8 months that we've reconciled, get a monthly average number, and multiply that by 12. That way we get reasonably close to what should be our annual cost. That's what we did last year, and we're pleased to see just how close we are at this point in 2017 to what we budgeted in most, but not every, expense category. Our revenue numbers are based on what we got from the county in terms of tax collections, new construction, timber excise tax, and investment interest. There's no numbers available for DNR Timber Trust, so we used last year's number, which we have been led to believe will be pretty accurate. They're also realistic in terms of income generated from our other sources. Sadly, our gazebo bookings were somewhat down this year from what we projected based upon the previous year, so that's reflected in less than we budgeted in 2017. But we do have a plan for trying to increase gazebo bookings next year as well. There are some anomalies in some categories, like payroll, education, travel, and mileage. Where payroll is concerned, we gave Don a $3 an hour raise in April of last year, which skewed our payroll numbers over what we budgeted for 2017. We also changed the way we calculate Travis's compensation, reducing his salary and increasing his mileage as a corresponding amount, but that was much later in the year. So while the outgoing dollar totals for Travis didn't change, the categories they're allotted to did. Bottom line is the total payroll cost for 2017 will be right at $180,000 when extrapolated using our formula. So the increase isn't nearly as dramatic as it looks when compared to last year's budget projection. We also broke out payroll taxes and retirement costs into separate categories, something we hadn't done previously on a recommendation from Bias. Also calculated in our budget numbers for this year are staff raises, $1 an hour for Don and Leanne, and a 5% increase for myself. I feel strongly that Don and Leanne have earned the increases. You all can decide on what, if anything, you think is fair for me. However, based on these numbers, a reduced expense, and a significantly increased cash carryover from last year, I hope you'll feel some increases warranted. We increased our budget for both education and mileage. With the new commissioner coming on board, there will be some one-time travel, mileage, and education costs for mandated trainings like newly elected officials training, Public Records and Open Meeting Act training, as well as the former commissioner didn't really attend many WPPA events and/or trainings. So we added a fair amount of cost for those considerations. We will also incur added expense for travel and mileage for the annual Bias training in Spokane. And as I said, there's a way we now pay Travis, adding to his mileage and reducing his salary. As far as the capital budget is concerned, in 2017 we budgeted $10,000 for the Oyster House, but only spent $6,000. So I budgeted another $10,000 for 2018 and carried over the $4,000 we didn't spend for a total of $14,000 in 2018. We also carried over the $2,500 we budgeted for the wayfinding sign we haven't used yet, and $5,000 for permitting and planning, which we didn't spend either. I didn't include anything for the Allyn Dock project because until we know what's happening with the grant, there didn't seem to be any point in it. Also, all the permitting costs are included in the grant. I also included $7,500 for the payment of the water system plan, because I believe this is a capital expense that should have been included in the original cost to build the system. Water system is showing a loss, but included in that budget is a loan payment to the IDD fund of $47.55. This is basically us taking money from one pocket and putting it into another. That money is also shown in the general fund expense as a loan to the water system. Without that, the water system is in the black. On more positive notes, our cash carryover is almost doubled from last year. That's after we include $120,000 for operations between January and April, when we get our first infusion of tax collection revenue, and $20,000 for a reserve fund. Last year we budgeted for the reserve fund but didn't fund it because of cash flow and the fact that we paid back the IDD fund the $30,000 we borrowed in 2016. So overall, this is a conservative budget, but one that I believe is also pragmatic and realistic. So with that, what would you like to talk about? As you can see, we still got to fill in the bars, number, category, item numbers for everything. But
I just got, if I
yeah, that's stuff we're going to get from bias.
work through the revenue side. I understand our tax revenue would be 1% of last year's plus new construction.
Yeah, these numbers reflect that 1%.
And then I know that we budget pretty high for DNR Timber Trust. I do know that that fluctuates. You can sometimes get a pretty accurate number from them, but I worry that 11,500 is a big number for us, and it may not always be there. But if you have good information that that's what you believe it'll be again this year, but I just think in the future years we should think about that being such a big number, because historically I don't think that's the amount of money that we're always going to get.
Well, this is pretty much what they told us to budget, at
Yeah.
the county.
DNR, you mean?
Yeah.
For DNR?
Now, I talked to the county. She said,
Okay.
you can budget what you budgeted last year and probably add to it.
Oh, okay.
You can always adjust that if you need to, if that's too high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then do we have maybe an idea of why our revenue for the main gazebo rental was down?
Fewer weddings.
I mean, but is there anything we can do to boost that back up?
What I'm going to do is I decided not to run the ad in the wedding magazine because it's pretty expensive.
Mhm.
I think it's like $1,200. So what I'm going to do is we're going to set up a Facebook page just for that. And we can boost our Facebook post for like $7 a time and reach 4,000 to 5,000 people. And I think we're just going to do that and see if that doesn't help us.
Mhm.
And I think it'll also help us with the kayak park wedding thing.
Sure.
And our last booking, the gal told me she found us on Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Yeah.
Yes, so
Really?
social
Interesting.
media, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just wondering
And
if,
maybe do a trade show, the wedding trade show at the
Yeah.
Dome or
Yeah.
something is cheaper than in that magazine.
Yeah, I
However,
kept the amount of money for advertising and promotion the same, but I think we just want to spend it better. So,
and because are there, I mean, maybe we could have a workshop or in the future to talk about other revenue opportunities for the gazebo.
yeah,
We've talked about, I know we have the windscreens, but we've talked about
the
closing it up somehow and heating it and maybe putting TVs out there and having maybe Seahawks parties at the gazebo or brunch at the gazebo, or I think there's a lot of.
I think partnering with a restaurant to do like a Sunday brunch
Yeah.
would be a pretty cool idea.
Kingston's got that going on, so. Use
Maybe
them as a
talk
model.
to Gail down the street, or
I think Gail would be a
or
dynamite
Ricardo,
person to talk to.
or talk to both of them.
just an item of note too. I think it was ACA is the one that puts on the Santa Claus or the sing-along on Monday night.
Sing along. Yeah, we
That they
can't
decide-
afford to do the sing along this year.
Okay.
We're talking about maybe going up to the church, inside the church,
Yeah.
and have, because our group is getting smaller and smaller every year.
Okay, is that why then?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're, for what we make, all the goodies and stuff that we have, it's not warranted
Yeah.
the people that's there, so we'll just go into the little church.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was just priced out of market type situation.
Kind of,
but-
we're still going to have the Santa Claus
Okay.
thing, but to sing along,
Yeah.
we decided, a couple months ago, I guess, decided that we're trying to cut corners too, as best
Yeah.
we can. It's,
You know, I had talked to them about a year or so ago about doing something, where we partnered with, in wedding things.
Mhm.
but I guess they're not interested because I never heard back from anybody.
yeah, we couldn't get anybody interested in. One thing might get more people. Now, we, at the little church, we give $50 back if they clean the place. And
We
maybe
give
you
them
could have a.
270 back if they do.
Yeah. If they clean it up.
Yeah.
Give it back,
Yeah, we take a deposit for it and
Uh-huh.
then give them the deposit back and give it back to them right away.
Yeah, okay.
How much did we, I'm sure it's in here, but how much did we make from the gazebo last year?
A little over 10,000.
Okay.
That would, I think it would be helpful for me if I had a year-to-date or an amount, because this tells us, and maybe bias will help us with this, but this tells me what we budgeted in 16 and 17, but it doesn't tell me.
Well,
Actuals.
yeah, it's not a,
Yeah.
budget versus actual, and bias will have that.
Yeah, which will be helpful.
Yeah, It'll be helpful to us.
Yes. Another question I have is the Allyn launch. So what do we charge for the Allyn launch?
$8, same thing we charge at
So-
North Shore.
So we need a kiosk out there eventually, right?
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Okay.
just say, for
So-
instance, $450 divided by 8, is it safe to assume that launch only gets used 56 times a year?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not here, but as
Yeah.
you all have heard,
No, that's about
I
right.
use the
Really?
North Shore quite a bit,
Yeah.
and I know that we weren't getting the money for the North Shore that we should have been getting, so I'm just wondering if the same is true for the Allyn dock.
We
thought
could
it'd
look
be
up the
used
old
more.
tickers. I think it is more.
I thought
But
that
remember,
it was considerably more.
we put the little drive over things.
Are they still there?
We have the information somewhere. I can dig it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I
would
mean,
you
really,
do
if
that?
we're only
Have to
collecting
divide it by 4, because Rusty didn't understand. There's trailer
$450.
tires in
Oh, right, yeah,
in
I
and
remember
out.
that.
But, yeah.
We're only
I will
collecting for
pull myself a note.
56 uses, then.
That wouldn't be worth putting a kiosk out.
no.
Well, I put a kiosk in that grant,
Good,
kind of buried it in there,
okay.
so,
It should cover that.
yeah.
I know,
What I'm hoping to do is make it up on our in-kind, that Don will do like most of the water work,
mm-hmm,
and that we can bury the cost of the kiosk there, and the labor for the water.
okay.
Because I think one out there would prove beneficial to us. Because it's the same problem we had at the North Shore with, when we are processing cash from there, we're processing change and odd amounts because not everybody has $8.
Yeah,
Right,
you just throw in.
And processing that, it's labor intensive.
Right.
And plus-
Kiosk might make more people honest, too.
Yes.
Oh, definitely,
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
A lot
Del.
easier.
Well, make ourselves easy to do business with.
Yeah.
Most people don't carry cash anymore.
Yeah.
No,
And I know I'm married, I don't, no. But, everybody's got a credit card or a
well, either
debit card.
credit or debit, or,
Yeah.
that's how people do business
Yeah, it
anymore.
is,
It's
Yeah.
just-
it is.
And they don't seem to, no matter what your price is, they just go ahead and swipe
Exactly.
it.
Well, what
Yeah.
we found is when we started taking credit cards, we were able to increase the amount of sale per wedding. When the people had to write a check for it, they didn't rent this room sometimes. With a credit card, they do.
Yeah.
Or tables and chairs, same thing. So,
Do you have a copy of the grant? Because I'd like to take a look at it.
it's online.
Okay.
I can give you the online stuff, and
Sure,
there's like 20 pages of stuff you got to go through, but it's
Yeah.
all broken down. If you want.
perfect, okay.
I'll send you my
Would you?
email stuff for you.
That'd be
my
great.
Login stuff.
Then I see the North Shore nightly mortgage we had at 2,500, we've reduced that to 750.
Well, that's because that's realistic about what we did this year. You know, the numbers for this year are based on what we did in 2017. You know, we're not going to have a lot of per foot moorage the rest of the year.
Yeah, boy, it just seems like this summer, there was quite a few boats down there, but at $40 a day, and then or by foot, they were small boats.
Yeah.
And
You know,
we-
when we were looking at I was looking at the reports from the kiosk, there were a lot of $18, $19, $22 things, and that's what those are.
Hmm.
You know, those are moorage.
We looked at the pay station, right? Because
Yeah.
I haven't entered that into QuickBooks for July and August, remember?
Oh, that's right, too.
Yeah, okay.
It might be a little,
Maybe
Yeah,
low.
so it might be a
Yeah, I
little
have
more.
7 pages of data.
Well, we'll be a
input,
little more if it's,
Still.
you know,
Mhm.
so. But I looked at the end of August and then after Labor Day, and it was only a couple $100. So, you know, over Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
But what I've tried to do is make these numbers realistic based on what we,
oh, that's good.
what we
Absolutely.
did.
Yeah.
And I've got the 2 grants in there with no numbers in them. You know, that's the Allyn dock and the planning for it.
And how many more settlement payments do we have?
3 more counting this year. Well, 2 more
Two
counting
more.
after this year. And it's due on September 30th. I looked that up today.
How are we doing with the sales of the gazebo bricks?
Well, we did well on those. And we still have almost 100 of them left to sell.
Great.
So the big expense, putting the new bricks in, is already done and paid for, and we made a profit on what we sold this year, and we still have 100, or I think it's 97 or something.
So how are you getting
More
the
to
word
sell.
out on that?
Oh, I did press release, and they put it in the North Bay Review, and they put it in the Mason County Journal.
I have to
And
get
I-
around to buy one. I just,
You can reserve one and they'll
Yeah.
put it on credit for you.
Just give me your credit card, I'll take care of it for you.
I still owe
I
for
do too.
mine.
I keep my credit card hid.
Smart.
No, but I gotta do it. I didn't do it the first time around. I should have.
Yeah, me too.
Well, we had 33 of them from the first time, plus we put in, I forget what it was, but it was a little over 100 of them. Like I said,
50.
and we sold 52 total. So we still got almost 100 of them left to sell. I counted them, but I can't remember what it was, but it was like 91 or 92, something like that.
What is non-revenue reimbursement?
That's like the money we got from DNR for the boat being out there.
Okay, gotcha.
That kind of stuff.
Yep,
And the Parks Department reimburses us any costs for the Santa sailors.
okay.
Yeah.
What's the story on that boat? Is it gonna go
The lady bought it at auction and she moored it here for 2 months, paid us for moorage at $1 a foot per day. Decided she couldn't afford to do that, so she anchored it out. And we had a call about 2 weeks ago. Somebody said there was an oil slick out there by the boat, and they called the Department of Ecology and they ran out here. And I called the lady, and we'd been calling her for a couple of weeks to find out what she was doing because it looked like that boat was listing a little.
Yeah, it did. Does look.
And she wouldn't respond, but I said, the Department of Ecology is coming out to your boat, and she called me like 5 minutes later.
Oh.
You know? And she told me at that point that she just can't afford to fix it. She doesn't have the money or the time, and she's going to sell it.
That's the trouble. It's a good hull, real good hull on that boat. It's the upper superstructure that's really bad.
Well, that lady was really invested in it. I mean, she had worked on it when they tore one side of it off and replanked it and
She
everything.
has its birth certificate.
Yeah, she had all of the papers from when it was new and pictures of it when it was like in pristine condition.
Yeah.
Building.
She was just like,
Well, if a person had the money, they could make a nice looking boat out of it.
oh yeah. And she got it running, and she was waiting on a part from Ireland or something for the transmission. And that was the last I heard. I forgot to ask her about it when I talked to her about Department of Ecology, because she was pretty
Too bad.
excited about that. So
At what point does it become a derelict vessel again?
I think maybe when it starts to sink,
And then they'll tie it up to our dock.
yeah, we'll collect some more money.
Yeah.
We'll collect some non-revenue reimbursement money.
Well, they must have a working bilge pump out there or something.
It does,
Yeah.
does.
She's got everything working. It was
Yeah,
just
she got
a
everything.
steering rod or something was all she was looking for.
Yeah. And somebody had stolen the drive shaft out of it. It was solid brass.
Stolen the drive shaft.
Yeah, somebody boarded the boat and they stripped all the brass off of
Wow.
Well, it was sitting out here.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's a nice gal. I felt kind of sorry for her, really. But, so
Well,
anyway,
I'm to payroll with a couple
Yeah.
questions here. Just refresh my memory, in 2016, the executive director did not make 151,000. It was all
that was all the payroll,
payroll
That was all
plus
payroll.
all payroll taxes
as near as we could figure out.
down there. So in 2017, it looks to me as if your salary's correct, payroll taxes are for everybody,
Well, yeah, you know,
or for you and Leanne, or,
for 2017, you said?
yeah,
That was everybody.
because Leanne doesn't have any payroll tax.
Ours-
Maintenance supervisor doesn't, but then we do. We're not payroll tax, we're,
Retirement.
um,
See, we didn't,
Social
we put the
Security.
retirement category in here this time, and there's no retirement figure shown in 2017 because it's lumped into taxes.
Yes,
okay.
that's retirement and tax.
Yes,
And then,
the retirement is lumped into payroll taxes in 2017. But that's why it's got a separate category in 2018, because that's where what Bias told us to do.
Makes sense. And when you say $1 per hour for Leanne and Dawn, what does that compute to a percentage?
I'm gonna tell you the truth, I don't know. I hadn't given,
Could you find
I
out
don't.
and just let me know? Because we'll
Okay.
have to come up with an
okay,
amount for you.
okay.
And then, can you explain to me Travis's setup?
Yeah. He was making, I forget, 578 and change or something like that per month, and then we were paying him a certain amount of mileage. What he didn't want to do, or what he wanted to do, in lieu of asking for a raise, was for us to pay him less, but pay him for his actual mileage.
And he
And
gives-
we were giving him a $120 a month allowance for mileage, just a flat amount. And what he wanted to do was be reimbursed for the actual miles that he drove.
So the $10,000 shown here is for salary or for salary and mileage?
Salary. Let me
So-
be sure, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know.
Let me find where you're at.
5.3%
Security officer,
interest.
10,000. Oh, the
on
10,000 in 2017 was salary and mileage.
Okay, so then in 2018,
That's just so,
It's just that, that's just salary.
4320 will be,
Salary?
Yes.
4320. And then where do you list?
We have mileage in another
As a-
category further
as
and
down.
that's what went
Expenses.
up. It
Yeah.
went up to like 8,000.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then, sorry.
because we're also gonna have to pay mileage to the new commissioner to
Right,
go to all this
yeah.
other stuff, and
And to, just to go up one more line. Dawn,
right?
in 2017, okay, so his payroll taxes, 7491, what all falls under payroll taxes, 'cause that's a big amount.
That's retirement as well.
And he gets PERS,
Yeah,
PERS too.
PERS too, and Leanne gets PERS too,
and I get PERS too.
and you get PERS too, and your guys is based off of hours. And Dawn is, how many hours per week?
It varies.
120 a month plus.
Yeah,
So
but
is it
about
like less
120
than
a month.
40? Is
You know,
it
some
around
weeks he
40?
works 40 and some weeks he works 20. It just
So it's kind
depends
of a
on what needs to
flex.
get done.
Okay,
Okay.
So on mine,
He just works to do whatever has to be done. There's no set amount of hours. And
You
he does
asked
work 7 days. You know, he's down here on
percentage.
Sunday cleaning the restrooms and everything.
right. What were you gonna say?
so percentage on mine is 5.3%, and Dawn's is gonna be a little bit higher to make that $1 an hour.
Oh,
I just rounded it off to $1 because I felt like since they get paid by the hour, that's something they could,
okay.
you know. I want to say 5% was 83.4 cents an hour.
Right on there.
And to me, they've earned it. They both work hard. They both do a great job. Don has saved us tons of money.
True. Very true.
Dawn's is 5.5% would be 99 cents. So,
Okay.
right there.
Just do a little math here.
Yeah, I
And
was
we didn't
looking at-
include any raises for Brody or for Terry. Or you guys.
Yeah.
Better calculator.
What were you figuring, Larry?
Just, yeah, Larry's.
Because I was looking at that too, if CPI was 3% generally, so that'd only be almost 2,000, but 5% would be pretty, because you figured the 5%, which isn't much more.
And well, I know
For-
that my insurance cost is going up.
Yeah. Right.
Everybody's.
Yeah.
And then it'd be kind of silly to, well, you know, I don't know, I'm thinking 5% for them, and it seems fair to give you 5%.
Well, I'd just be grateful for whatever you all decide.
Yeah, but I was looking at the CPI, which is.
Because I
3.
never really calculated their percentages, so.
Okay,
And we do have that, that overpayment issue
overpayment
that
situation
I'd like to
as well.
figure out before 2018.
mm-hmm, oh, yeah, right.
Might be a little,
Dell, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, I don't explain it very well, but he was sort of overpaid, so you want to explain that to him, so we're trying.
Yeah, we had the accountant come in and figure out payroll and taxes for me,
Mhm.
and he made a mistake.
Oh.
And I was overpaid for a period of time. So, you know, I didn't want to be the person figuring that out because I didn't want a mistake that benefited me to look like what it wasn't.
Yeah,
And
so has it all been calculated out now for,
yeah, it's right at $3,000.
well, that happens once in a while.
Well, the state, I talked to the state auditor and asked her about what do we do about how to do this, and
How to fix it.
and she said whatever your commissioners want to do and whatever arrangements you want to make are fine.
Yeah.
And that just happened to be right
Could
when Dave's wife died.
arrange a small payback, you
Yeah,
know, or
absolutely.
whatever, it can be over a long period of time. Because it's a little rough to knock it all at once, you know.
Yeah, I do. Well,
yeah, we didn't want to do that to him.
yeah.
Yeah,
We had a situation where the accountant was figuring it out. His wife had just died, and I don't think he was completely,
Yeah,
had his mind on everything.
yeah.
His wife died after a real long illness.
That'd be
Yeah.
tough.
And is Jan done with us?
Yeah,
She is.
I mean, I talked to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, would she be willing to come back and assist with bias once it's up and running? Because I talked to her about it and I said, hey, we're not looking to get rid of you, but at some point,
She's the only one on Bias. Bias does a thing like a Facebook page, so you can stay in contact, and her and I are already talking that way,
Okay.
and, yeah. And
Yeah, well,
Stuart's been holding my hand, working
we
with
don't
the chart of
expect her to work
accounts.
for free.
Thank goodness.
But, and sometimes it's like, who's your accountant? And in our case, it's gonna be
Bias.
Stuart,
Yeah,
but,
I've been on the phone
there
to him
comes a
for
time
hours
to where,
last week.
yeah, that even the annual fee doesn't pay for all of Stuart's time,
Ah,
so.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
We're in the honeymoon phase.
Yes.
We're in the courting
then we
phase,
will
so,
use
'cause
that
we haven't
well.
paid yet.
Well, we got a bill from them today
We
for the
did?
setup, yeah. That was why I sent you the update, because it was in here and I took it out.
And we're good,
And I
so we're gonna have
adjusted
an
a couple
audit
other
this
things.
year, so we have 7,000 in for an audit. Or no,
No.
that was last year.
Yeah,
And this year,
This
what's
year
the
we-
250 for?
and just what, incidentals, we have no
Okay.
idea what, but just in case.
And why did we have 5,000 in 2016, 7,000 in 2017?
Because we have an election this year.
No, this is
Wait, what are you talking
state auditor.
about? Oh.
So it looks like we had an audit in 16 and 17, but we're not gonna have one in 18.
We did not have one in 16. We put that in there because, I don't remember why we put it in there
It's
now.
always been, that's,
Yeah, I think it was one of those things that was always there and it
I
was.
think we always planned on auditing for
And we're in
some
it.
reason.
Are we every other year?
We're every 3.
three.
Every 3, okay.
So theoretically, we shouldn't have one,
Every
but
three
you never
unless
know.
they find something.
Well, they didn't, we got audited last year and they didn't find anything. She found a couple little minor
Yeah.
Procedural things.
They'll just send a
She got
letter
us
out on
working
that.
together.
They didn't even do that. She sat
No,
us
it's
down,
just
talked
a-
to us,
yeah,
and
the
15
exit
minutes
interview.
it was over.
Yeah.
And the elections, that's a pretty secure number there.
Yeah,
And
that's.
is that every year that we have to,
Every
pay
year
for
there's an
that?
election.
okay, so we always
be-
do our part, okay.
Yeah.
So-
And since this is a contested election, when it
Yeah.
wasn't contested, the amount is lower than when it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Because they have to
Okay.
print multiple names.
Exactly, and, they gotta deal with the, election booklet,
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff, plus they gotta count 2 sets of votes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or a machine does.
Yeah.
And the water fund repayment to IDD, 30,000 last year, 47.55 this
Right.
year. Is that because we paid it all back? That's all that's left to pay back?
The 4755 was a loan for building the system, and I think there's 3 payments, including this one on it. So there's 2 more payments after this one.
Of 47.55?
Yeah,
And the 30,000 was?
that was the 30,000 we borrowed in 2016 for operation
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah,
that we
okay.
paid back
Okay.
last year.
This year.
Yeah, this year.
Gotcha.
So our intergovernmental expenses are down significantly.
So I had asked Leanne or you for the year-to-date on Charles.
And
It was much larger than this amount.
hopefully we're done with it.
Where are you at now? Office expense?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was high. It was much higher than we anticipated it being. But, we also had that one
Computers.
computer that was dying and we kept reviving.
And I know that,
We spent a lot of money on him doing that.
there's other people that do that same type of work, and I think they do it more inexpensively than he does. And if we're about economic development and, maybe we could look at somebody not
Somebody
from
local.
Bainbridge Island. And I know you had talked to Troy and tried to get an estimate from him, and he never responded, but, maybe we could. There's a Christy Hutters out there, she does the fire district for $500 a month, and she pretty much takes care of everything.
Well, you know,
$500 a month.
I'm open to that.
Yeah, I just think that,
You know, it was with Christy when I first came here.
I'm not,
It was like, you know, I said, "What time is it?" And she said, "Thursday."
no, I know. No, and I'm not advocating for anybody. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, should we be paying a guy out of Bainbridge Island to work on our computers in Allyn?
Well,
And I know you have history with them and it's all
I have
good,
history with him, and he
yeah.
does a good
No,
job
I know.
and fixes stuff.
I would be inclined to maybe get
But-
a competitive estimate from
Okay.
somebody else.
I'd be good
Yeah.
for that too, because I know that there's some,
Okay, well, sure, not a problem.
Cause it was, we're up to like 6,500 this year.
Yeah,
so
no,
far.
it was a lot more than I thought it would
Yeah.
be, and a lot more than we budgeted. But, you know, we kept reviving that one computer, and
Yeah, it comes a point to where buying a new one.
it
Yeah.
was cheaper than,
Yeah.
yeah,
Computers need to be tossed.
yeah.
And that was one of the points I wanted to talk about today anyways, was that expense and how big it was in
No,
comparison to.
it surprised me when I saw the number, so.
That's it.
But he was,
And I know he's good.
and
I
the
know he's
number
good.
is significantly down now.
Yeah, I know he's
Because
good.
once we got everything running and running smoothly, it was fine. You know, my point of view is that's just one more reason to have a Macintosh.
Keep asking, you never know.
Yeah, well, you know, they haven't spawned a whole industry to keep them running.
That's true.
So, but anyway,
we still good with the 5,000 for the public records requests?
yeah, we're down on that from the year before.
Okay,
You know, in 2016, I think we calculated $6,000. But
What,
we've only had a few this year, and the bulk of the money that we've spent this year has been to pay Steve DiGiulio.
yeah, so that's what that
yeah.
Yeah,
number represents, is not
Yeah.
attorney's fees, but attorney's fees
for public
For public
records.
records.
public record.
And we were looking at software and stuff, so.
Well, and there's the new law, I don't know if you got that link I sent you, but it's off of, did you get that link I sent you?
I don't think I heard new law either. What new
So
law?
it's the new law that took effect July 21st, and it has to do with charging for public records
Yes.
requests.
Right, that we
Um,
can charge now.
Foster Pepper has a whole,
Yeah,
if you go to their webpage, there's a whole kind of idea of what they believe
Okay, I'll go look.
public agencies should be doing. It's not a far cry from what we've been able to charge for in the past, but it is the Autobots that will send you a request, you don't have to answer them. Well, there's an
right.
avenue to get
Yes.
away from them. Somebody says, I want everything from
Yeah, you
any
can't.
time for the last 40 years.
you
Yeah.
have to be specific.
Yeah, there's more specifics in there. And
We went to public records training, Leanne and I, Thursday,
Mhm.
and they covered some of that.
And I think the big thing is if we're gonna charge, we have to have a policy in place that says how we charge. I think we should be working on that maybe
Good
shortly
point.
after the budget.
Yeah, revamp it.
Yeah.
Very good idea.
Yeah, well, I'm going through policies and procedures. My next project is to finish the water
Yeah.
manual.
Yes.
I've got it roughed out and pretty much edited, but trying to do it was just the most tedious thing you can imagine. But I'm ready to go back through it, tweak it up, be sure that the table of contents matches the, you know, what's there, and then I'm gonna send it off to Northwest Water Systems. Excuse me, so he can look at it and, you know, redline anything that shouldn't be there.
Great.
And then, when that's finished, we should be able to submit the water plan.
Oh, good.
So that's,
Nice to get
that's
that
my
off.
next priority,
It's pretty important.
yeah. But once that's done, then, you know, starting on policies and procedures, like I had said to you all the month before last, you know, I want to start at the top and just work through them all.
One of the other things that I had that I wanted to talk about today was accounting fees. I do not believe that I asked you to come up with a year-to-date for that.
For Dave?
Yeah, you did.
What was it?
I want to say it was 700 and something,
Okay.
I thought Dave was 400 so far.
Yeah, maybe that's why it was such an insignificant amount. But once again, with bias, how,
We shouldn't have to do that,
With-
right?
2 employees in the office and a governmental software, accounting software, how much do we need to use an outside
Yeah,
accountant to come in?
We shouldn't have to use
I
much.
think that if we're spending $400 a month or a year and it's, things like coming in and figuring out payroll taxes because it's complicated, I think that's money well spent, but, if it
I will
was,
tell you, Stuart's been holding my hand and learning all kinds of things about
Yes.
bars numbers at
Yes,
the moment.
yeah.
That's why the X's are there, because those are going to be local. They're LA numbers.
Oh, good.
and
Yeah.
750, I think that's
It's
fine.
going to help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. We can definitely see it already. So that was a good suggestion.
And I just emailed Jan.
I'm just surprised that we're the only port district because they are bars reporting software. Maybe we can start getting them to come to the,
Well, I
conferences.
suggested that to them when I was trying to negotiate the price with them.
Right.
That, we
Will
could
be a pilot.
possibly connect them to other ports.
That'd be great. Have them come to WPPA,
yeah.
Yeah,
Small
and
port.
could we get some kind of a discount for doing that?
right?
Since we're gonna be the guinea pigs.
The answer was no.
Yeah, that's right. But if you don't ask, the answer is always
right.
no,
Yeah.
Utilities.
Dave, the accountant, and payments made.
Geez, what have I done?
These costs are just right out of the
Yeah.
checkbook, what they've been. And this stuff, we were right on the money on just about all of this. When we started looking at what we did last year and what we budgeted and where we're at this year, we were right on the money about so much stuff. We cut down the phone costs because we cut down one phone line.
Oh,
Hmm,
We don't need a fax line.
yeah,
Nobody uses a fax anymore.
I do.
hospitals do.
Old-fashioned people do.
So I see that we've doubled the gas vehicle, more than doubled gas vehicle and equipment.
And that was, we had
Yeah, okay,
gas
yeah.
for vehicles and gas for equipment somewhere else,
So you
and we just combined them.
That does not,
That's gas for the lawnmower and the chainsaw and
Okay.
everything
The
else.
truck.
that does
As
not,
well as a truck.
that doesn't include Travis or anything like that?
No, does not. Does not. We did exceed in 2017 vehicle maintenance and repairs. It was almost $900. We had a U-joint go out in that truck. But we haven't had any other trouble with it since we've had it. And so I put 500 in there hoping that that was all we were gonna need. Talked to Don about all these other costs for maintenance here, and he said he thought the numbers were generous for what we're gonna have to do, because we did so much in 2016.
It seems so little
'cause
for repairs of the Allyn dock.
Oh,
I mean,
excuse me.
I don't know.
Well, he said, we're just gonna have to replace a couple of boards here and there, that's it. Power washing.
Maintenance, repairs, Allyn launch.
We're gonna need to put some cleats on there. I mean, there's just not a lot that has to be done, because in the last 2 years, we've done so much.
Well,
We
and-
replaced all the collars around the pilings out at the North Shore in 2015.
Right.
And we've replaced cleats out there and everything. And same thing here, we've replaced most of what's replaceable. And most of it has a useful life of another few years.
I think, and plus with storm damage, and then insurance has paid for a lot of the redoing of some of that.
And it will in the
Correct.
future, yeah.
Yeah,
Or anything big.
okay.
So the North Shore parking maintenance repairs, that's
That's-
usually a load of gravel and
Exactly. Same thing out here. That's what those are. Just, since we got 2 of them here, these are for more than out there. But they're not significantly more.
Okay.
But that's what it is, it's gravel and grading.
Who does the grading?
Usually Ron Griffey.
Ron, okay.
I used to have the prison girls do it by hand.
Yeah.
Did you really?
no, that's,
Wow.
And it
It's
works.
still an option.
Done it every weekend, they'd fill all the holes, and it cut way down on
Oh, sure.
the maintenance.
We have not used them for a long time, have we?
Yeah,
Now,
we'd
it
have
seems
to-
like they worked on our bulkhead and one of the gals went, "Oh, my back."
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to use them at the city. And
okay.
I had them like painting the curbs and stuff.
Mhm.
And I had them paint my office.
And they kept raising their price. Remember that?
Yeah.
It used to be
Yeah,
$1 an hour.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay,
But, somebody's got to supervise them as well.
right.
I did that for a long time.
Right. Well, it might be an option. We could probably ask again, just in case, see if
I'll
anything's
check on it.
changed.
I'll check.
Yeah.
Because I like doing it because it was basically free.
Well,
Yeah.
and plus it gets, it's a kind of, the community is supporting them, so,
Yeah. And then travel expense, you can see where those have went up, but that's
Mhm.
reflecting the new commissioner and all the places he's gonna have to go.
And
And the difference in mileage for
for Travis.
Travis.
So Travis went from 10,000 in 2017, and that included mileage,
Yeah.
to 43.
But his
it wasn't-
mileage
Still
was
got a stipend,
calculated
though.
at just 120
Right.
a month. It was just a flat amount. So,
now his mileage is like
1,500 a year.
300 or 400 a month.
Yeah.
Is the net
Right.
going to be more or less for Travis?
It's a wash.
Okay. Because according to this, he's making like 5,600 less in salary, but 120 times 12 would be 1,400, so he'd be about 3,000 less in salary. But he's making 3,000 more in mileage, or,
Well, part of it is he doesn't pay tax on the
Yeah.
mileage.
right, do we have a cap on it? I mean, do we know that
We know about what it should be.
schedule?
Yeah, he sends a report, a
Yeah.
log.
We never really have needed a cap for him anyway. He's
No.
been pretty trustworthy.
It's,
so.
yeah, and it's pretty much the same every
Mhm.
month.
Because he's got the same routine, only he varies the times to
Yeah.
not have a pattern.
That's it. And then,
So we'll go through mileage we know what Travis's mileage is. We can expense out what each commissioner's mileage could be if they went to 2. So mileage is a thing that we didn't really consider when we put together the package for the executive director. So when we took the big giant leap of faith and said, we want a full-time director, this and that $80,000 was the amount. Well, we've surpassed that. It's been 3 years, not by a lot. But if you were to estimate how much mileage you're gonna have in 2018, how much would that be?
And
you
really-
gave me that number, right?
I hadn't really thought about it.
Yeah,
And
just
I've
that
got
email
the-
here, yeah.
My
I
mileage
just sent it
usually
to you.
runs about 200 a month,
Again.
unless we have, like we're gonna go to this thing in Vancouver.
Mhm.
And when we go to Leavenworth, then it goes up a little bit, but
That's what Travis turns in every month. So you can
But
see
never-
how that, and yeah, it
I mean,
doesn't really vary.
Is that accurate, or is he just,
That's what he does, and he does extra.
Yeah.
So I'd
and
say
all their
27
stuff,
a day,
yeah.
running to all the properties.
Oh, that's about right.
That, something came up there. Yeah. Very consistent.
my mileage for August was 106.14. Let me,
And that's based on 58 cents or 54 cents a mile,
whatever the current,
IRS.
I think it's 54. But hold on a minute and I'll tell you what it's been all
so
year.
Larry was at 1474.30 for, would that have been through July?
Yeah, I actually pulled vouchers and did it that way.
Okay, so
So.
in January, it was
I think it was
150.87.
through August.
And that included going to the broadband summit at SeaTac.
I think that did include August, Scott. I'm not 100% sure, but
And then,
That was sent
yeah.
September 8th.
Yeah.
Sounds like the day I left on vacation.
I know, that's why I said we're on
there's
vacation.
109
8:30.
in February.
Silly boy.
Nothing out of the ordinary, except a trip to Duwato.
So basically at $8,000, we're assuming that there's gonna be 14,814 miles. put
That's
in.
about right. You know, my mileage in March was 120. That included a trip to Olympia for the WPPA Legislative Committee, and a run out to Duwato again. And just, you know, the rest of the stuff was just
Okay.
here and there. 128 in April. That was, what did I do in April here? Nothing out of the ordinary.
And
Just-
don't forget, new commissioner will probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
They'll
It
be
seems like a lot,
encouraged to
but
go.
it's because the lion's share is going to go to, so Travis is at almost $4,000 in September, at the end of August. So,
Well, in April, I had 267, but I had a couple of trips into Bremerton to meet with the engineer about getting cost estimates for this project. WPPA spring meeting at Suncadia and back. And trip to Olympia for that safety class for ROII. So,
Did you have the CPR class here last Friday?
yeah,
Yeah, we had good return.
3 hours worth.
I'm already certified, that's why I didn't come.
I had 252 in June. Where did I go in June? WPPA Finance Seminar at Semiahmoo and back. That was, and a couple of trips out to the North Shore.
So this 8,000 does include everybody,
it does. I'm
us
just,
too?
yeah. So if Travis gets, it looks to me like Travis is going to get
He's going to get the bulk of it.
5,000 of it.
Yeah.
No, probably more. If he's 39.54 now,
7.
and we'll divide that by 8. That's $494.25 per month. Multiply that by 12. It's right around $6,000. If you're between 150 and 200,
I'd say 150 is a pretty good average for the year.
so let's say
137 a month.
150 times, there's another 1,800. That leaves $200 for the 3 commissioners and Leanne and anybody else.
Okay, so how much should we bump that number up then?
I don't know if we bump it up or if we relook at how it gets used.
Yeah, you can
Maybe
always
have a
adjust it
separate
later in
line
the year
for
if you need to
security.
raise it.
Mhm.
I think it's best to keep it fairly close to what it could be and then increase it as you need it. My opinion.
No, it's good input. If we,
Or you could separate the line items and do one for security
Yeah,
mileage.
I kind of
Yeah,
like
we
that
could do
one.
that.
I think that'd be a good idea. That way we can track.
well, yeah, we
That
could
way
separate
then-
it out.
If he does
Executive
27.
Director, Security, Commissioners.
Okay, we
Yeah,
can do
I
that.
think we should.
And I just did the math on his 27 a day. It's going to work out to 10,044 miles for the year. So, for Travis.
So what was that again?
10,044 miles.
Is what you think?
Yeah.
And it's 54 cents.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I don't know if that changed.
5600.
No, it's,
5,600.
yeah, 54 and a half or something like that.
Well, that is at the 10,044, or 444, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
10,000.
Yeah, it's $5,640.
Oh, you resent that to me.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and break this out for the final one then.
Let's just,
Do
well,
it.
let's go back to Travis's awash.
You know, I increased it $3,000 from last year, but obviously that's not enough, so.
So he's
Well, I can-
4320 plus, what was the mileage estimate?
That was 54,
Oh,
So-
you're looking at numbers,
50,
sorry.
5,640, $5,640 a year, which I could see why he wants to do that, because it's reimbursement.
Yeah,
It's
we
non-taxable.
saved
Yeah.
money on taxes for him.
Right,
And he does too.
yes, everybody kind of saves, so I'm good with that way.
And April was the one that set up the spreadsheet for that, so
Mhm.
we know the state auditor's good with it.
Yeah,
It's a wash. I would like to see that separated out because it's just
Okay.
that mileage seems like a big number.
It
I
could
do
be
understand we have a
scrutinized
new
by people.
commissioner. We will want him to go to.
You know, I think I may have underestimated
those
the new
trainings.
commissioners.
Yeah, and
Stuff
for the
there, so
public
I'll go
too,
ahead
it
and-
doesn't look like you guys are just running around all the time.
No,
well,
I
there's a lot
mean-
of times I don't charge.
Yeah,
for
me too.
mileage.
I don't charge.
You
for
know, I don't
EDC
either.
and-
I mean, in
yeah.
spite
But
of
if
turning that in, I
Joe,
don't charge for
whoever read
everything I
that,
do
they
either.
might look at that and go, oh, those commissioners do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with
It
you
would
about
protect you
breaking it
guys.
out,
Okay.
so that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it is too.
I can scratch another one off. Come
Did
Dave.
you say break it out, executive director, commissioners,
And Travis.
And Travis.
Security.
Alrighty.
Now, do we pay Donnie mileage?
No, that's why we got the truck.
Okay.
Yep.
And we tried to get Travis to use the truck, but he just refuses.
It didn't make sense. He has his own business.
But he
So
lives
would have
in
to-
Grapeview, so he can't pick it up on his way by.
And then have to use the port car to go to Tacoma and stuff like that if he has to run to shops, because that's what he does. Or if he could keep a car there, I think he even asked.
Yeah.
Didn't he think about keeping a car at his shop, and
Yeah,
That
but
wasn't
we'd have
good.
to buy a car.
that was a good option? Yeah.
Cheaper to do it this way.
He did
It
actually
is, in the
consider.
end.
That was nice.
You know, I mean, we could look on surplus and look for another vehicle.
Still cheaper.
Yeah.
54
We're
cents
not
a
even
mile.
using
you-
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This truck. All right, I am through.
You know, and Don and Travis would sometimes conflict about using the truck. So.
Meeting and conferences, training classes. What's the difference between a meeting and a conference and a training class? We went up, we doubled our training classes.
The meetings and conferences, that's like WPPA,
Yeah.
the Small Port Seminar Net. Training classes is specific training.
You know, like,
CPR.
like
Yeah.
CPR
Yeah.
and the bias and,
Yeah,
Webinars, anything else
Yeah.
that cost?
yeah.
All right, well, I'm into
water utility.
water utility, unless anybody's got other questions on the main budget or the general fund.
Whether- Do we have to now vote on wage increases before they, or do you want to,
I think,
as a
We have to
package?
wait.
I
We have
think
to wait.
we probably have a,
We have an ad coming out for 2 weeks prior to
Yeah,
our
you
next
need to have
meeting, and we'll
public
have a
hearing.
public
Yeah.
hearing before the meeting starts.
and if you guys want to think about what we discussed as far as 5%, 5.3, 5.3 plus,
And the 1% we have to approve.
the what?
The 1% we'll have to approve at that meeting. too.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
or we don't get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we
Well, yeah,
can,
do you want to talk about that now? I mean, it is a public meeting, so we can talk about it.
well, I was kind of hoping to
Want to wait,
Yeah, maybe do a little research, like you said, CPI is at 3, and
right,
we have to be able to justify why,
right.
Okay. Fine with me.
because 5% is above CPI.
On the bulk water sales, we've only had one, correct?
Yeah, this
Okay.
year. That's why I didn't put a lot in there. But the one we had, I think it was $121
140.
140.
or 144.
Any
whatever.
potential for hookup fees? We don't have anybody down the road, okay.
You know, I gave that guy the information and that was it. I never heard from him again. And I put a call into him just to see, and he never returned it.
There's been a couple of developers come by over the year, this year, about 3 of them, with possible big projects.
But we're.
I'm just not
we're-
planning on them. If it happens, it's
Right.
found money.
Well, and plus, the developments are at Washington Water, pretty much. Any word on them?
Street.
No?
I want to get the water, you know, we can't,
Can't do
our
anything
hands are
until-
really tied until we get this water plan finished.
I get that, yep.
I mean, there's no point in talking to Jeff Carey or Washington Water until it's done.
I get that, yep.
Then I see our customer payments are down 2880 from last year for next year. Is that, do we expect to have a decrease from our customers?
No, I think we
Overestimated?
overestimated last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is realistic based on what we've done this year.
Very good.
Which is more in line with 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think we were, at the beginning of last year, or, you know, when we started doing the 2017 budget, there was some talk about a development being done in there, and we kind of banked on that a little bit for the 2017 budget, but it didn't ever materialize.
Got our, any more questions on water utility?
Nope, I'm good.
But you can see where the, you know, the payment to the IDD is in
Yep.
there. So, and if you back that out of that 10,000, we're in the black. So,
Well, and that'll be paid off soon.
3 years.
Yep.
This year, next year, 2018, 2019.
So we're into capital projects. 14,000 for the Sergeant Oyster House. Is that, you gonna be able to spend that?
Oh, heavens.
Oh, good.
Like that, right?
Awesome.
We're still gonna keep trying to go down to the capital budget, I mean, to get capital money from the legislature, you know, even in spite of, you know, us going down for other projects. We'll keep plugging away, we'll keep asking, but we are making headway, you know, we are getting, I was telling them, we had a volunteer, that's gonna come and remove the windows and redo the
Oh, yeah,
windows.
yeah.
So he's gonna talk to Walter and,
He's gonna restore them, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
yep,
You gotta keep bugging Daniel for money.
okay, yes, exactly.
Yeah, Dell, keep bugging Daniel.
Yeah, Dale.
can't.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays.
You guys can do it. I can't get away with it.
Not at the dinner table, Dell.
Yeah. But permitting and planning, I put that 5,000 in there just in case we ever do a project for, you know, we've got some money in there
Sure.
for it. And the 2,500 for the Belfair signage, that's the wayfinding sign for the chamber thing.
And did you get that resolved with,
I have played
Brian.
phone tag and text tag with Brian. I have not talked to him yet.
Well, he's back.
But it's not
so-
for lack of trying,
Okay,
so. And then I put the water system master plan in here
Mhm.
because I believe that is a capital cost of building the system. I mean, if you all want me to take it out and put it in expenses, I can,
no,
but
It is
Yeah,
a
we went
capital
back and
expense.
forth on that,
You know, and I thought about putting it in the water budget, but, you know, it should have been in the should have been a construction expense for the system itself. That's why I put it here.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
And then, you know, the last thing is just so you can look at the totals for everything. But please take note of our estimated cash carryover. It's almost double from last year.
That needs to get us from,
No, we've got 120,000 in here to get us from
oh,
January.
good, there it is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
plus the 20,000 for the reserve fund that we never funded last year. That's in there, and we still have a cash carryover of 78,699.
Great.
That's great.
Last year, our cash carryover was like 42,000.
Great.
It's wonderful.
Any other discussion on the proposed budget?
It's pretty much straightforward. I've looked at a lot of budgets in my time, and this looks pretty nice, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Thanks for your hard work on this.
Yeah, thank you.
Leanne.
And other than the few changes along the way, it looks good.
Well, I didn't expect y'all to just say, yeah, that's good, let's go.
Yeah, I think that's probably less changes than we made last year.
It is.
Well, and I
Probably
thank you
not
for.
any less questions, but
Well, but I
And
thank
that's
you
fine,
for.
I mean, you know, that's your job.
But I thank you for moving this along. We've actually gotten forward. It's been
Yeah.
great. It's been wonderful.
thank you for thanking me. You're welcome. I would like to maybe put on, well, maybe we can talk about a workshop or a special meeting to discuss the 2018 raises.
Okay.
We can dig into those a little bit more now that we know kind of where we're at, that in the past, I think we gave to Rusty, we gave to Larry was the, the self-evaluation, and we do have an evaluation to give them.
That's right.
What's
Yeah,
your
we do
contract
need to
say,
do that.
January?
It says annually.
Annually, so maybe we could do
Do
his
that at the same
evaluation in
time.
November, December, and determine
Yeah,
the raise.
that's a good idea.
It's
Do it
really,
all at
I
once.
think it's up to
Look at
him
the
to
median.
justify the raises of
Yeah.
the employees, so I don't know that we
Well, yeah.
dig into that any further if he's happy with.
You know, Don saves us a ton of money, and
If we looked up the median pay for, I
Watch
mean,
him
what
work
is he
while
at?
he's out here working.
Construction
He
supervisor,
moves.
you know it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
$18 an
No, he's
hour.
always on the go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he does a great job for us, and he's willing to do anything we ask him. You know, like
Some
that
days.
little office up there, I think is a perfect example. You know?
and a nice job too.
Yeah. The pay station kiosk, and all the little stuff he does around here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's all the time. There's always something to be fixed. You know, putting the
think that's why our
fence around the,
expenses are down.
pouring the concrete
Yeah.
slab, putting the fence around the heat pump.
And the park's beautiful as always. and-
Yeah, you know, and something he pointed out to me when he asked for that raise last year was, you know, the Skookum guys over there in Bremerton, which, you know, that's,
The janitors.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and disabled people and everything, they make $20 an hour.
Yeah.
So we're, you know, we're paying him
Mhm.
with this raise, we're still paying him under 20.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, Leanne's taken on a lot of responsibility with the bookkeeping that she didn't have before, and she's taken it all herself. Wasn't me saying, you know, get the whip out, you have to do this. She just took it on herself to do it, and, you know, she works hard and always goes over and above. I feel very strongly that both of them deserve a good raise. I think they more than pay for themselves.
I'm not really opposed, I'm not opposed to that, but I do appreciate him talking about making it a separate time with eval as well. It's just good timing, accountability to the public, so I think that's a good
Yeah, I
idea.
have no
Because
heartburn about that.
I would agree, you guys have done wonderful, so.
Yeah, I have no heartburn about it at all.
I did have one more question, because it just, under the total revenue, or total expenditures, we've got 2016,
Milvin is back up again.
sorry.
Okay.
I was looking at it and I didn't know the answer.
Total
Why it says
proposed?
0?
Yes.
Oh, right.
These are, if you look at them, they add up to 0. You add one, subtract, add, subtract, they come out 0.
That's what
Oh,
the
I
county
see what
Which
you
is
requires
mean.
anyway.
2017 auditor, what does that represent?
That's what, for the
Oh.
auditor, everything's gotta add up to 0.
Yes,
Yeah.
So that's a line item, or a line for the auditor.
That's what it
to look
is.
at. I gotcha.
and all detail stays on us.
Yeah, the final document that we sent last year, all the stuff added up to 0.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And Scott, since you've been following this one, this is the IDD with the, where we put the 30,000 back. And there's state pool and regular. So it's back in there and it's earning that per month.
Oh, wow.
Down here would not earn a penny. So,
Because that's state and this is the-
yeah,
our
that's the only
IDD.
one.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, so we took out of here, added it to here.
Other way around. We took it out of here
Okay.
when we first borrowed it. That's why it
Right.
went from 144 to 114.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we transferred it back in, it's there and it gets to earn interest.
Earn interest,
Mhm.
because it's state
So is this
pool.
back to
Yeah.
144?
No,
Okay.
it
It's
is in the
144
bottom
plus
line.
the interest is
There's our
there.
total bottom line in that account.
This is the whole IDP
Yes.
fund.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
165 or something. Plus, it's
that's-
gonna
I
have
just think that's
another
awesome.
4755 when we,
Every,
Gotcha.
yeah, every year the
Interest.
4755 is gonna start earning more interest.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So we have our regular meeting in October,
October 2nd.
and since we're here as a board, do you guys have anything you want to put on that agenda that you can think of? If not, call Larry or Leanne and ask for,
I have one thing I wanted to tell you all.
Sure.
Next week, I'm gonna be gone 2.5 days.
Okay.
We
I'm
have
gonna
to approve a
try to talk
preliminary
to
budget.
car
to get in
manufacturers into coming back here.
Today.
oh, good.
We have to do preliminary? Oh, we have to approve this today?
A preliminary budget.
Preliminary.
Yeah.
Because that's what's coming out in the paper, so we can approve the regular budget
Okay.
on October 2nd meeting.
I would entertain a motion to approve the preliminary 2018
I'll
budget.
make a motion to approve the 2018 preliminary budget.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in
With-
favor?
With changes. Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Do we want to set a time for the workshop?
Well, I was thinking that our next meeting is in about
Second.
It's a week.
2 weeks, a week. So maybe we could do it
Oh,
as a
yeah,
workshop
you're
in
right.
October. Because we'll have to do the approval of the budget in November,
Yeah.
or have
Yeah.
public.
No.
We have to do it in October?
Yeah.
Yes, state auditor site included ports now for their way. Let me look it up, the RCW.
So they had some flexibility there
Yeah,
with ports.
yeah,
They always want the budgets in before you know how much money you're going to get.
Exactly.
absolutely. Yep, but, let's see, SAO.
So we would have to have one next week if we did.
Yeah, the ad's coming out next week. And, okay, so local government. Where did I find that? Okay. Almost.
Yeah, because Judy and I are gone Wednesday and Thursday of this
Budget.
week.
Compliance.
And then I'm gone Tuesday, Wednesday, and part of Thursday.
Where are you going, Judy?
We are going to.
Oh, the environmental.
Environmental seminar.
Vancouver.
And we have bias training,
Okay.
10th,
Okay, here we
11th,
go.
12th of October.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to go to that, Larry. I
This
know that I
is-
agreed to, but
Ooh,
Well,
where'd it
you
go?
know what I was thinking with that bias training is, as
Okay.
far
Leanne and I
as,
will go over there and learn it all, and come back and
let's
teach you
say,
guys.
as far as,
All right, so state auditor website, which I've been working with Stuart. This is why I have this on my desk at the same time as I'm doing my Word. There is courts.
I think it's past fire. It looks like it's alphabetical.
Oh,
There it is.
okay, so
Oh,
that
boy.
paragraph is gonna tell you right there. We don't get that grace till December 1st anymore.
you wanna read it out loud for the record?
Yeah, there you go.
So what's the dates we gotta have stuff? I don't put it on
He's
there.
gonna read it.
Are you gonna read it, or want me to?
Yeah, we had to have the stuff to you on the 15th, which we did, the
Yeah.
preliminary.
Yeah, we have to do it in
Mhm, That's
following the first Monday
that
in
was
October.
Friday.
So we have to adopt it by
On
final
Monday.
resolution, yeah, we have
Yep.
to do it. So we will, so I think that
I already
if
put the add-ins.
we need to make recommendations for the director's increase, that we have to do it before October, the Monday in October.
Or the other way you can look at it is you could do an amendment to a budget if you need to, you know,
Yeah, I don't like doing those.
No.
I'd rather
just an option.
have it zeroed in.
Yeah.
Do you wanna try to meet next?
So you guys are gone
Wednesday or
when?
Friday, or?
Tuesday,
Oh,
Wednesday, and
yeah,
part of
this week we're
Thursday.
being gone. It's
That's-
next week.
Yeah, how about
Yeah, we got 2
either
weeks.
Monday or Friday of next week? And-
Friday, well, let's see.
And do you
No,
want
I'm
me
not.
doing the evaluations of Leanne and Dawn, or do you guys want to do them?
No. It's-
That'd be your job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I would think.
That's what I thought too, but
Yeah, I would think so.
Did you bring it in?
Yes, I do.
My
Oh,
biggest
thank you.
job is to not do your
That's not
job.
on the-
Oh, darn it.
yeah, I've heard you say that before.
I know. Sorry if I fall off once in a while.
I think I'm free on Monday and Friday.
Okay.
So. I
We
could do
pretty
either.
much decided that Fridays are not good days for us to meet.
Yeah,
Okay,
Just
so
because,
Monday,
and we keep the staff late, so Monday is,
25th.
Is there any way you can get off early? Because I have a court meeting, I mean, I have that North Mason Community Voice meeting that I have to be at. It's at 7,
about,
but if we meet
and
at
you guys are gone,
5:30?
but you guys aren't gone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that week, are you? You're
No,
gone-
no, it's just
But
this.
I'm gone Tuesday,
He's gone
Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm here, but I just have a meeting that night.
If it's to discuss one thing, is it a possible lunch type thing?
Monday,
Or
could we
Scott's?
meet before 6? If we
I
have
could
more
Sure.
time.
possibly do 5:30. Is that enough time for
Yeah,
you?
it would be.
Okay. I would ask that my fellow commissioners do their own bit of research on that. I will get
Sure.
Larry the self-evaluation form that we've used in the past.
I've still got it,
Okay,
So meet at 5:30 on the 25th.
right.
I will need multiple reminders.
I remembered to remind
We might
you.
need to walk over and knock on Dell's door an hour before.
I remembered to remind you.
You did, thank you, I did get that.
Yes, I got that too. Just so that you know, the North Mason Community Voice has the candidates for the port being there as well. So that's what.
Have they
Okay, so
both
what day was
confirmed?
this?
Yes,
Oh, that might be interesting.
5:30, what day?
Monday the
25th.
You might want to advertise that as
I-
a potential quorum, because
I will, always
I
do.
may want to go to that.
Oh, the
Oh,
thing
to the
afterwards?
North Mason Community Boys.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
okay,
that
you
one.
betcha.
But you know,
I'll do
I
that
saw
right
also, in open public meetings, it's okay if you are seen together, you just can't talk for
Yeah.
court
No, that is
Well,
true.
you-
It's just,
But it's
You
just-
can
it's-
talk about anything but
But-
the business
It's
of the
good
port.
PR, though.
it's,
I
that's
agree.
just good,
Yeah.
best practice.
Yeah,
Yeah. It,
takes us.
Yeah,
well,
great.
here you're on tape,
Mhm.
so anything, you know, you're safe.
Yes.
They can't say you're talking business when you're
Yeah.
not.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
We made pretty good time. Any, public comment?
Public?
Apparently not.
Public,
That's-
All right, I would, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.